Okay, I'm going to start out with my personal grafting technique, which is kind of a conglomeration of the different stuff that I use, and I'm kind of taking, I think, what's the best of all these different methodologies. I've got my Ace bandage wrap. It's kind of sticky. It's not super sticky. I've got my painter's tape. I've got this DeWalt knife that's been blued to burn all the oil off it. This is from David Gonzalez, and it's the same with this painter's tape. Although he uses pantyhose, I don't really like cutting up pantyhose, and I do like how it stretches. But it's kind of hard to work with because it's not sticky at all. And this stretches somewhat. It's got a limit to it, but there's some alcohol to sterilize the blade. I don't think it's super critical, but it's a good idea, good practice, I think. These are these cuttings that I'm taking. I'm gonna do tip grafts. I'm not gonna do any slab grafts this time, but I'm gonna do 3 tip grafts from these guys. This is my rootstock. I'm gonna tip graft to that guy, because these are on the same plant. And this is probably another nice one to tip graft to. So I'm gonna do these 3. These are really good looking. And since these are small tips, I'm gonna kind of, no, this guy's kind of close. I guess I can kind of hold it off a little bit, but yeah, this plant's kind of a weird plant that it's pushing really nice, so I'm going to take advantage of that. It's going to be pushing this Old Town Burgessii is the cultivar that I'm grafting. This one's nice too. It's pushing nice, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So let's get right to it. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is sterilize this knife. So I get my alcohol. Just any old alcohol is fine. No big deal. Some people want some really high test alcohol, but like I said, I don't think this is super critical, because I think it's almost impossible to keep like all the bacteria and microorganisms at bay. So first thing you want to do is prepare the piece that you're going to cut. The tip, you want to get right in close in there. So I'm going to just take a little bit off it at first and see how big the vascular ring is. And you see that tiny little ring? If I can get that to mate up, that's great. But the one thing that I don't want is just these little notches here to go in too deep, because that's places where it's going to be exposed to air and could possibly get infected. So I might need to go deeper just to encompass the whole scion that I'm going to cut off the top of the grafting stock, and make sure that there's no little places where air can get to it. So that looks like that ring, that vascular ring, would match up with the vascular ring on the other one, but I might have to do it offset, and you can never quite get that perfect anyways. So go a little deeper. The circumference here, where the ribs start, looks like it's pretty close to that of the scion. So what I'm going to do is bevel it. A lot of these guys don't bevel it, but what I've noticed is that when it dries and starts to callus, it tends to pull away, it tends to cup, and that kind of puts force on the graft union, and that's not necessarily a good thing. So I think that's pretty good. So now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to clean this again. I keep always kind of going back to cleaning this. And then I take my scion. I'm just taking a very little tip. Make sure that it has some areolas in order to, because that's where the pups come from. But it's not super necessary if you're doing a tip graft, because the tip will take off and grow by itself. And see, that's really tiny, but that's going to work really good. Now I'm going to take it over here, come back over, And I don't think I need to bevel this too much, but I'm going to make a fresh cut, make sure it's really flat, and then I'm going to join the two together. But in order to get a nice mate, my friend Shannon showed me if you kind of rub it around here like this, it gets all mucusy, and that does a good job of kind of causing it to heal fast like that. So that's going to be pretty good. And I'm going to kind of bevel it like that. Don't cut your finger. This is going to keep the thing from cupping and putting force on the graft union, which causes it to pull up and maybe disconnect. And also water can get trapped there when it's raining. So even bevel in between. I don't think I need to do that too much, because that's places where water can get trapped. So that's looking pretty good. I think I'm going to go ahead and... That's looking pretty good. So there's my graft. There's no pressure on it now. So I need to apply pressure for it to take. And it'll take pretty quick. Now, don't be shy with the pressure at all. It's gonna feel like you're putting just a stupid amount of pressure on it. I think I can remember I could tear this stuff with my fingers. Yeah, I'll get it started here. Actually, I'll just tear it off. Just hold this like this. I don't have to worry about it. Put this stuff to the side. I need my painter's tape handy because I'm trying to do this with just my two hands. So the nice thing to do is press it down on top. It's kind of sliding around. And let the spines grab the bandage like that. And if you can, that wasn't good. You definitely don't want your sky getting flicked like that, because now it's got dirt on it. That's fine. Gotta do some surgery. I'll put the skying down like that. Fresh piece of this. Like that, keep that fresh union. Get the dirt off and take, just because this is already a small scion, I just got to take the tiniest sliver off like that, so that I got fresh. You don't want to put dirt on your union. I gotta go back and get that mucus, go in little circles, get the little mucus going. I'm off centering it just a little bit so those vascular rings can hook up. The vascular ring for the little guy can hook up with the big guy. And let's try this again. Take my ace bandage. I think I'm gonna get some little pieces of tape to kind of anchor it, and then do all the way around. I think this will help me out on one side. I like to do this with my daughter's help. So like that, holding it down on the rib. A lot of times these spines are really helpful to help you grab the ace bandage. But as you saw, that wasn't super secure. So I'm pulling down it hard, making sure it hasn't moved too much. And it's still kind of centered. And this painter tape's doing its job on the other side. So it might be good to have two of those ready, but I'm just gonna go all the way around with it now. Like this. And there should be a fair amount of pressure. It shouldn't be able to move very much, but I'm going to put 3 of these ace bandages so I can, the next time I can really crank down on it. Where's my little, there it is. There's my ace bandage. And this only needs to stay on for about 3 days. So it doesn't need to stay on a super long time. And this is pretty much guaranteed to take. Like, I haven't had one done like this go bad at all, period. This has been 100% success rate. There's the other one. Yeah. Okay, almost done. I say 1 more minute and I'll be good. Get another piece of tape. I'll put only the painter's tape in between my legs so I can have a free hand securing this side. I'm gonna pull this side down. This side got away from me. No worries, I forgot the most important one is that first piece. Is that first piece of ace bandage. This one I'm putting some cranking down on pretty good. Putting some pressure, gonna hold it with my thumb. And wrap it around. Pushing it down, securing it, and then moving this. This should be feeling pretty tough to move at this point. And then one more to really do the job thoroughly. Thanks for your help, by the way.
You're welcome.
And then finally, so these are all kind of crisscross from each other. Let me get my painter's tape ready to go. Pull this down. And again, I'm putting a lot of pressure. It seems unreasonable amount of pressure. I'm just wrapping it all up with painter's tape so it ain't going nowhere. And one more piece over here because this other side is a little uneven. And that's it. And just again, verifying this thing, it shouldn't be moving at all. It shouldn't be sliding on the rootstock. So in 3 days, like I said, you can take this bandage off. This bandage is not particularly sticky, so you're not going to worry about it pulling this guy on off. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed that. Have a good one.